the welcome has been made. I hope that everyone feels welcome today. Go with me to Second Corinthians chapter 10, and we're going to read, I'm going to read more than the verse that I have here. Second Corinthians chapter 10. Second Corinthians chapter 10. I was going to read just verse from verse 5, but in order for you all to get a good understanding of what's happening here in the text, I'm not going to just read 10. Amen. Second Corinthians. We're going to start from 4. We're going to start from. We're going to start from verse 3. We're going to start from verse 3 in 2 Corinthians chapter 10. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, and we're going to read, start from verse 3. When you have it, say amen.
Amen.
Okay. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imagination and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. I'm going to read the last verse, verse 5 one more time. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use for a topic today, detoxing our thoughts before they control us. Amen.
Amen.
Detoxing our thoughts. In his letters to the Corinthians church, the Apostle Paul warns us about false teaching, spiritual stronghold, and the importance of bringing our thoughts under Christ's authority. He makes it clear that our real battle is not against people. Oftentimes, when we have a situation, we want to think it's people, but it's actually a spirit that's operating within that person. Amen?
Mm-hmm.
And he told us that it's not against that. So when we're doing battle, oftentimes, and I know we have some fighters in here. Some people, all you have to say is give them the go, and they're ready to go. Amen. Mm-hmm. But as Christians, that's not the posture we're supposed to take. Amen. We have to understand our thoughts, and we have to understand what is spiritual and what is not. Amen. But as believer, that's what we're supposed to do. Amen. Mm-hmm. So once again, he makes it clear that our real battle isn't against people, but against deceptive ideas and the mindset that pulls us away from God's truth. Amen. I believe it was Joyce Meyer that wrote a book about the battlefield of the mind. And I often share with you all that our mind is where we win our greatest battle, or we suffer our greatest defeat. Amen.
Amen.
Everything starts with the mind. I'm not sure if anyone else is like me. Sometimes something would happen, and I promise you, I would stay, I would ponder, I would think about it, I would mull it over for every day. I think about the worst possible outcome possible, just for it to happen to not be like that. I know sometime in the house, I would call some of the children, and I guess the way how I may call them and the tone that I may call them, the first thing one of them will walk in here and say, "Am I in trouble?" I'm glad I didn't. I'm seeing hands going up, but that's often us. We're always thinking about the worst thing. It's just like you have a spouse or a child, and they're late coming home. You call their cell phone, they're not answering the cell phone, and the first thing you start thinking in your mind is that, oh my God, that person is laying up in a ditch. Something happened to them, just to find out that their battery died, and there was a lot of traffic. Amen. our mind often take us to places that it don't need to go. Amen. So that's why we have to learn to control our mind. I promise you, some of the greatest arguments I've had is with myself in my mind. Somebody made me real angry, and in my mind, I'm going through everything because I know that person has a real bad attitude. And when I finally get in touch with that person, the first thing is, hey, I'm sorry. And in my mind, we already had this bigger argument. I'm never going to talk to that person anymore. I'm going to delete them. I'm going to block them. I'm going to do everything. Why? Because I was allowing my mind and toxic situation to invade our mind. And I know a lot of us are like that. So today, once again, we have to learn the process of detoxing. Every year, I think the children and I sort of kind of did a little semi detox at the beginning of the year. And one of the things we have to understand about detox, and detox is really, really good for the body. It's like a restart. I myself and well, some of them were doing it, and some of them were not. Some of them were still eating candies and cookies when they went over to some of the family members' house.
I didn't.
Yeah. So the purpose of detox is giving your body a restart. You know, and you guys ever walk around feeling sluggish? Your stomach feel all bloated because of some of the things that you eat. I know some people in here, some of the people in here, they're lactose, right? And although they're lactose
Intolerant.
yes, they refuse to stop eating things that they have no business eating. So after a while, what happens? They walk around all heavy and sluggish. And what you have to do then, you have to go ahead and, as first of all, allow your body to get back the natural rhythm of the food. So those who are lactose intolerant, they have to stay away from those food and get their body back with meat. But I like to suggest ginger ale to flush the system. Ginger ale for me, my children said, on a side note, cures everything. When they were growing up, ginger ale cured everything for them. Amen. But we know it didn't, but I just needed them to do that. But because of so much sluggish in our body, it weighs us down. Amen.
Amen.
So that's why we have to get to the place that we have to learn when it's time to take control of our body. Think about it. Think about it. If our natural bodies get to the place that we put the wrong substance in it, what do you think happened to your spirit and your mind? Somebody take that heat off, please. It's just too hot in here. Think about it. You know, every day our bodies is bombarded with natural toxin. I mean, it's in the air, it's in the food that you all eat, because myself and Ariana, we eat quite healthy. All of the toxin that you all eat, it plays a big part in the way your body operates. You guys understand what, since you guys know this is interactive. Tell me something about what happens when your body gets sluggish. What kind of food, like sugar? You know, you all who use sugar
Yes.
and drink a lot of sweet tea
Yes.
and grape and orange crush sodas.
Yes.
Amen.
They have a lot of sugar in it, right? So Pastor Roger, tell us what happens when our body gets sluggish. Bummed out with that.
When, like, for example, if we have a lot of sugar, our body can't, our body retains it. It doesn't digest it properly, and it turns into fat.
Right. But also, it makes you feel tired. People often think that giving children too much, well, I'm gonna back up. When you give children sugar, they burn it off real, I mean, they get hyper, right? But do you know that's not always the thing for us as adults?
We come crashing down.
Right. It comes crashing down. But think about it. When our minds get bombarded with all kind of information, with so much going on, I mean,
Amen.
there's so much external and internal noise that's going on in our mind. Sometimes it's kind of hard to focus. I've made it a practice now, starting this today, whenever I have to get up and minister. And I mean, Chuck had told me this for a while ago. He told me, he said, you know, whenever you have to minister, do not do everything.